All right, everyone ready to dive in?
Ready when you are.
Okay, so today we're going deep with P.T. Barnum and this of The Art of Money Getting. It's from 1880.
Wow, 1880, that's going way back.
Yeah, way back. But honestly, even though it's from so long ago, it's still got some seriously good advice.
I think people would be surprised, honestly.
Yeah, totally. So you know Barnum, right? The circus king.
Oh, for sure.
Well, he wasn't just about the big top. He had this incredible mind for business.
Definitely. He was a real uh, a pioneer
Hmm.
in marketing and understanding what makes people tick.
Exactly. And that's kind of what this deep dive is all about. We're digging into his ideas about success and not just like money success, but success in, life.
It's about understanding people, about seizing opportunities.
Totally. Okay, so first up, Barnum was huge on finding your true calling.
Right, like what are you actually meant to be doing?
Yeah, and get this, he actually hated working with machinery.
What? No way, that's so unexpected.
I know, right? You think of Barnum and you think like spectacle, excitement, not like gears and grease.
Totally. So what was he getting at there?
Well, he believed that if you're, stuck in a job that just doesn't fit your natural talents, you're going to have a tough time.
Right. You're not going to be happy, and you're probably not going to be successful either.
Makes you think, huh?
It really does. What are you naturally drawn to? What do
Yeah.
you find yourself doing even when you don't have to?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. It might be a clue to where your true talents lie.
Okay, now, get ready for this story. It's about this London showman, and Barnum talks about how this guy's wax figures were so awful they looked like they hadn't seen a duster in centuries.
Oh, no. Seriously?
Seriously? Like, he even talks about this Henry VIII figure that was basically just a skeleton.
I mean, I guess if you sit in the same spot for centuries, you'd probably lose a little weight too.
Right. But the point is, even back then, location was everything.
Interesting.
So this guy, he packs up his sad wax figures, moves to America, and suddenly things start looking up.
So what can we learn from that, even today?
Well, it's about understanding your audience and finding the right place to, showcase your skills.
It's like even in a digital world, location still matters.
Right.
It's about finding the right platform, the right audience, the right niche.
Totally. Okay, now this is where things get interesting. Barnum was completely against debt, like called it a plague.
Really? Wow. Strong words.
He even quoted this Quaker who said, and I love this, he said, "If you get trusted for anything, let it be for manure, because that will help you pay it back."
Okay, that's a visual, I have to admit.
Right. But it raises a good question, though, because today we hear about good debt.
Whoa, yeah, for sure. Like student loans, mortgages, things like that.
So how does that fit in with Barnum's view?
Well, I think Barnum was writing in a time when debt was mostly associated with recklessness. It was like a trap that could really limit your options.
Okay, so back then, debt was basically a bad word.
Pretty much. But today, things like student loans or mortgages are seen more as like investments in your future.
So it's strategic borrowing for the long term.
Right. But even so, I think Barnum would still urge caution. He'd want us to carefully weigh the costs and benefits before taking on A and Y debt, even the so-called good kind.
So even good debt should be approached with caution. I like that.
It's about making sure it's truly an investment and not a burden.
Okay, moving on. So Barnum was also a big believer in perseverance. He even compared like two generals facing an enemy army.
That's interesting. Okay, I'm listening.
So one general, he hears about these cannons and hesitates. The other one charges ahead full force.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, Barnum understood that you're going to face setbacks, but it's how you respond to those setbacks that matters.
It's that never give up attitude.
Right. Like, think about a time you faced something tough and pushed through it just because you refused to quit.
Oh, I've had a few of those.
We all have. It's amazing what we can accomplish when we don't give up.
It's like those challenges, they really reveal our hidden strength.
Okay, ready for another jump. Barnum said, "Whatever you do, do it with all your might." And he tells this story about a guy who asks if he should just let his camel wander, trusting in God's will.
Okay, I'm intrigued. And what's the answer?
Well, the answer is, tie thy camel, and D, trust it to God.
I get it. It's about action, not just faith.
Exactly. Don't just sit back and hope for the best. Take action, give it everything you've got.
It's like you have a role to play in shaping your own destiny.
Yes.
Like,
So it makes you think, are there areas in your life where you're like holding back? What would happen if you really went all in?
it's a good question to ask ourselves sometimes. Where are we letting fear or procrastination hold us back?
So true. Now, Barnum was also a huge fan of learning by doing. He told this hilarious story about this naturalist, Cuvier, who is famous for identifying animals just by looking at a single bone.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, and his students, they were a little mischievous.
Oh no, what did they do?
Well, they dressed a friend in a cowskin and hid him under a table.
A cow skin. Okay, this is getting good.
So they asked Cuvier to identify this quote-unquote creature, and the friend jumps out shouting, "I am the devil and I am going to eat you."
Oh my goodness. I can just imagine the scene.
But Cuvier, totally calm, just looks him over and says, "Divided hoof, graminivorous, it cannot be done."
He knew, just from the hoof.
Yep. He knew a split hoof meant herbivore, not meat-eating devil.
That's a great story.
Okay.
It's funny, but it makes a point.
Right. Barnum believed in getting your hands dirty, experimenting, learning through actual experience.
It's like that saying, jack of all trades, master of none.
Exactly. What do you think? Is it better to specialize or have a wider range of skills?
That's a tough one. I think today being adaptable is crucial, but having that deep knowledge in your chosen field is still incredibly valuable.
For sure. And this actually leads into his advice about not getting above your business. He warns against relying on, like, inheritance or those get-rich-quick schemes.
Right, the easy way out.
He believed in building a solid foundation through hard work, effort, and, really learning the ropes.
He contrasted those who inherit wealth with those who built it themselves. He observed that often the children of the rich end up poor, while the children of the poor rise to prosperity.
It's like shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations.
Exactly.
Barnum saw the value in that journey of creating wealth, the lessons you learn, the character you build along the way.
It's not just about the money, it's about the process.
Totally. Okay, now this is where Barnum throws a bit of a curveball. He says, learn something useful, but don't be too visionary.
That's interesting. It seems contradictory.
Right. It's like he's saying, be practical, but don't be afraid to think big.
It's about finding that balance.
Yeah.
In today's world, we need a diverse skill set to be adaptable, but we also need focus and discipline.
So true. So how do we strike that balance, between being a visionary and staying grounded in reality?
It's a tough one, right? Finding that sweet spot.
Yeah, for sure. It's like walking a tightrope sometimes.
And speaking of balance, Barnum also talks about this being systematic.
Oh, yeah. Organization, routines, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but he's also cautious about being overly systematic.
Okay, so, don't get too stuck in your ways.
Exactly. And he tells this funny story about a hotel owner who was, obsessed with his system.
Oh, no. This sounds like trouble.
It is. So he makes this poor, inexperienced bellhop act as a waiter during dinner service.
Oh, boy. I can already see where this is going.
Right. So this bellhop, he's told to follow the rules. Exactly, no deviations.
Oh.
And the guest, he finishes his soup, but the bellhop refuses to clear the bowl.
No way, really?
Yeah. He's like, nope, gotta wait until he's finished with the whole course, even though the guest is, clearly ready for the next dish.
Oh, that's a disaster.
Total system meltdown. And it illustrates Barnum's point perfectly. System should help us, not hold us back.
Yeah, we need to be adaptable, use our judgment, not just blindly follow rules.
Exactly. So what about you? How do you find that balance in your own life?
That's a good question. I guess I'm a bit of both, to be honest. I love a good routine, but I also know when to throw the plan out the window.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Now, even back then, Barnum was big on staying informed. He said, read the newspapers.
Yeah. Even in the 1800s, he knew how important information was.
And today, it's even more crucial.
Oh, absolutely. With the internet, social media, we're bombarded with information 24/7.
So it's not just about staying informed, it's about filtering all that noise, right?
Exactly. Figuring out what's actually valuable, what's worth paying attention to. So what about you? What sources do you use to stay up to date?
Oh, wow. Good question. I guess it's a mix of things. Podcasts, obviously, articles, online news, and honestly, conversations like this.
Yeah, that's a good point. We learn so much from each other.
Totally. But Barnum also had this warning about venturing into unfamiliar territory, especially if you're driven by, greed or that get-rich-quick mentality.
Right. He called these outside operations.
And he basically said even experienced business people can fall into that trap.
Oh, yeah. It's easy to get seduced by those those shiny opportunities, even if they're outside our area of expertise.
Makes you think twice before jumping into something new, huh?
It really does. Due diligence is key.
Absolutely. And on a related note, Barnum had some strong advice about co-signing loans.
Oh, yeah, that's a tricky one.
He told this cautionary tale about this person who kept endorsing notes for a friend.
Oh, no, I feel like this isn't going to end well.
It doesn't. So the friends' risky ventures, they all went belly up,
Oh,
and they both ended up in financial ruin.
that's a hard lesson. It's about setting boundaries, even with friends.
Right. Because we want to be helpful, but we also have to protect ourselves.
It's tough, but sometimes you have to say no, even to the people you care about most.
Okay, moving on to something a little lighter, let's talk about Barnum's bread and butter advertising.
Oh, yeah, he was a master at that.
He believed that no matter how good your product or service is, you have to let people know about it.
Right, if a tree falls in the forest.
Exactly. He told this great story about a shopkeeper who put up this sign that said, "Don't read the other side."
Oh, I love that one.
Of course, everyone passing by had to, sneak a peek.
Reverse psychology at its finest. And then there's the story of Jenin, the Hatter, who bought the first ticket to Jenny Lind's concert for something like $225.
Wow, that was a fortune back then.
It was.
Yeah.
But Jenin knew what he was doing. He understood the power of publicity, of associating his brand with someone as famous as Jenny Lind.
So it was more than just a publicity stunt.
Yeah, it was smart marketing. He made high-quality hats so the people who bought them out of curiosity were likely to become repeat customers.
So good advertising and a good product.
Exactly. It's about building trust and reputation.
Yeah, it's not just about hype. It's about delivering on your promises.
Right. Which brings us to another important point. Treating your customers well.
Oh, for sure. Happy customers, happy business.
Barnum believed that good customer service was essential for a thriving business.
Makes sense.
He even shared an anecdote about an usher at his museum who wanted to fight a rude customer.
Oh, wow. That escalated quickly.
Right. But Barnum advised against it. He said, losing a customer is way more costly than enduring a bit of bad manners.
Especially today, with online reviews and social media.
Oh, yeah, one bad experience can go viral in minutes.
So true. Building trust and loyalty is more important than ever.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about earning money, managing it wisely, building a successful business.
But Barnum also believed in giving back.
Right. He saw charity as both a moral duty and a smart business practice.
Interesting. So he believed in generosity.
Oh, absolutely. He understood that it creates goodwill, strengthens the community.
It's like that saying, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Exactly. What about you? How do you incorporate giving back into your own life?
You know, I try to support causes that are meaningful to me. Even small donations, volunteering, those little things can add up.
Absolutely. Every bit helps.
And along with generosity, Barnum also emphasized discretion. He was like, don't blab.
Keep your secrets close to the vest.
Yeah, he understood that information is power.
And that sharing sensitive details can be risky.
So it's about being strategic, right? Knowing what to share and what to keep private.
Exactly. All right. And finally, we come to what might be Barnum's most important principle: integrity.
Okay, integrity. That's a big one.
He believed that honesty is essential, not just for ethical reasons, but for practical ones too.
He wasn't about that get money honestly if you can mentality.
Nope. He argued that dishonesty will catch up with you eventually.
Right, it's about building a reputation for honesty and trustworthiness.
It's the foundation of lasting success in any field. It really does make you think, doesn't it, how we build that kind of trust.
Yeah, for sure. And Barnum didn't think getting rich automatically meant you were successful either.
Right. He had a broader view of what success actually means.
Yeah, it was about character, integrity, living a fulfilling life.
It's that balance, isn't it? Financial success and a life that aligns with your values.
Totally. Man, it's been so interesting going through all these ideas from Barnum.
Me too. It's amazing how relevant his ideas still are today.
Right. This book is from 1880, but it still speaks to us,
Really does. It's like human nature doesn't really change that much.
Okay, so let's recap some of those key takeaways. What really stood out to you?
So many good ones. But I think, first and foremost, finding your true calling. Figuring out what you're naturally good at, what you actually enjoy doing.
Right. Play to your strengths.
Exactly. And don't forget about location. Putting yourself in an environment that supports your goals.
Location, location, location. Always important.
And being smart about debt.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Don't let it hold you back.
And then there's perseverance. Right. Setbacks are going to happen, but it's how you respond that matters.
It's all about that grit, that determination.
And don't be afraid to learn by doing. Get out there, experiment, get your hands dirty.
Totally. Real-world experience is the best teacher sometimes.
And of course, Barnum, the master showman, he knew how to make himself known. He was like, don't be shy about promoting your talents, the value you offer.
Yeah, get yourself out there.
But remember, authenticity is key. You got to back up those claims with a quality product or service.
It's not just about hype, it's about delivering the goods.
Right. And treat your customers well, build those relationships, create a positive experience.
Customer service is everything.
Absolutely. And, don't underestimate the power of giving back. It's a win-win for everyone.
Makes the world a better place.
And through it all, maintain your integrity. That's the foundation of lasting success.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So as we wrap up our deep dive into P.T. Barnum's The Art of Money Getting, I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
Barnum believed that true success is about more than just money. So how do you define success? And how can you apply his principles to achieve it in your career, your relationships, your life?
That's a great question to ponder. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Until next time.